Hey, fellow procrastinators, it's time to study. We all hate it, but it's something that's mandatory for flight training, and to be fair, it's something all pilots should be doing as we always need to continue and learn. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Sporty's Learn to Fly course, specifically the ones for private pilots. We're going to talk about why I chose this product, how I use it, my thoughts on the product so far, and of course, there's going to be some procrastinating distractions along the way. Let's get to it. If you're new to the channel, my name is David, and as I said, we're going to be taking a look at ground school materials and specifically the Sporty's Learn to Fly course. There'll be many more videos like this to come, so go ahead, click that subscribe button and ring the bell for all the latest content. Quick disclaimer, this video is not sponsored by Sporty's, which I would imagine is pretty obvious as this is only my second video, but hey, I can dream, right? If you're like me and getting back into flying, just getting started, or want to get ahead of the game, ground school is the place to start. The private pilot license requires 20 hours of ground school, as well as passing a knowledge exam consisting of 60 multiple choice questions. This may sound daunting, but there are a variety of options available to you. Ground school comes in a multitude of flavors. You can do an instructor-led, which is typically done through your flight training school, or you can do online options like the Sporty's Learn to Fly course that we're going to be talking about today. I've done both. When I was in high school at Randolph-Macon Academy, I was enrolled in the flight program. This meant that I took flight like you took math. I had an instructor in the classroom that taught us ground school from the Jeppesen textbooks. We had paper charts, we had old manual E6Bs, and yes, I understand that that dates me a little bit. I know now we have ForeFlight, we have Garmin Pilot, we have a multitude of aviation applications. We also have electronic E6Bs from Sporty's and other manufacturers. So yes, bear with me while I date myself for a little bit, but the Jeppesen textbooks and the old manual E6Bs were how I learned. I learned in a classroom, and each class complemented the time that we spent in the aircraft. One quick tip, and I just found this out, which is actually very nice. For those of you that are just getting back into flying, your 20 hours of ground school do not expire. So as long as you have the logbook that shows that you have that time and that endorsement, those hours are good. Now, does that mean that you should jump right back in a plane and not do ground school? Absolutely not. I highly recommend that you go through a course, again, either instructor-led or online. If you jump on Google and put in online ground school, a ton of options come up. There is a great one from M0A. There's a great one from FlyMate. Obviously, there's Sporty's, the one that we're talking about. There's still the King schools, if everyone remembers those videos. I don't actually think that they've been updated that much, but the content, I've seen them, they're fantastic. Make sure that you pick one that best suits your needs, your learning styles, how you can consume that information so that you can be safe when you get back into the cockpit. The one thing that you should also know as far as the knowledge exam, now that does expire. While the hours don't, the knowledge exam is only good for 24 months from the time that you took it. If that time has passed, you will have to take it again. Again, it is a 60-question multiple choice exam, and you must have at least 70% or better to pass. All right, let's jump in and take a look at the Sporty's Learn to Fly application. I typically use mine on my iPad mini. One of the things that I do love about online ground schools is that you can use them across multiple platforms. I use them on my iPad, I use them on my iPhone, I use them on my Microsoft Surface, I use it on my MacBook Pro, and I use it on my Apple TV. It's nice to be able to consume that information in an environment that I feel comfortable, either my house or when I'm on the run or when I'm sitting in an airport. Anytime that I want to take some time to do some studying and catch up on different material, I like being able to do that at my fingertips. That is another reason that I chose online ground school. I have done the King videos. I've seen them. They used them as a supplement when I was at RMA. And, you know, I love them. They're fantastic content. They're a little quirky. The videos are a little dated, but that's what makes them fun. And a lot of people like to learn that way. That said, a lot of them are still on DVD. I do believe you can get them online now, but it just wasn't as easy for me to consume. Another one that I tried was M0A. M0A, there's Jason Shappert. He's a big YouTube channel. He is a fantastic pilot, a fantastic instructor. I tried his out. Nothing wrong with his ground school at all. I just preferred the Sportys application. And one of the reasons why is because, and I know Jason does this as well over at M0A, but it's very modular. There's the Learn to Fly for private pilot. There's instrument rating. There's checkouts for the G1000, taking a look at the G1000 and all the buttons and dashboards like that. There's multi-engine. There's commercial. So I wanted to be in an environment that I can take each module and progress as I continue with my training. And I do think that that is important. The other thing that I think is important is supplementing what you're learning. So as an example, I did not do M0A ground school. However, I go to Jason's videos on his YouTube channel all the time. He produces first-rate training videos. I love watching them. I like to hear how he takes what I learn and puts that into practice, that I can then take that information when I get in the cockpit, whether it be with or without an instructor, and practice all of those things. For those of you that are just getting started, or for those of you that are going to be back in the cockpit with an instructor, I highly recommend taking notes. Taking notes and going into a lesson prepared makes that lesson so much better and so much easier, both for you and the instructor, because you know exactly what you want to work on. You know exactly what you have questions about. And in order to be safe and learn as much as possible in an environment that is conducive to that, you have to have questions and go to that prepared. So one of the things with flying and studying so much is you do tend to get burned out. This channel is called the Procrastinating Pilot for a reason. One of the things that I do all the time is I procrastinate, especially when I get stressed or when I just feel run down and burned out from going too hard. So this weekend, the procrastinating happens to be motorcycles. I'm a big motorcycle guy. I own a Ducati. I have 2 Triumphs in the garage that are some friends. I have another guy's, his Moto Guzzi Norge. So this weekend, I was able to get out on the bike a little bit, get them cleaned up. I have some pictures. I'll put some video up here in just a second so we can take a look at that. And then I had to also clean the garage, which I absolutely loathe. That said, I tried to make it fun. So I'm an IT guy. I found a ton of just museum pieces in the garage that have been in here for probably 20 years, which is ridiculous. Played with some flares because why not? And really just tried to break up the weekend. So take a look at these clips, take a look at these photos. If any of you guys ride, or if you just need to take a break from when you're studying, let me know what you guys do down in the comments. It is always good to get away and have that mental break. I know I need it, but without further ado, let's take some look at some bikes. All right, guys, so that was some fun with the bikes. That was some fun in the garage. It was nice to kind of mix that up. How about those old museum pieces, huh? That's ridiculous. Anyway, enough of a break. Let's jump back into the Sportys app and take a closer look. I'm going to be doing some screen sharing, so I'm going to do some split screen while I talk to you guys. I'm going to go back and forth so you can actually see this application. So let's go ahead and get on into it. So obviously when you first open the app, which I just downloaded from the Apple App Store, it comes up and it's called Sportys Pilot Training because it does include all the different modules. And of course the first thing you have to do is you have to log in. So let's go ahead and hit log in here. Sign in, and it's logging us in. Success, obviously a good thing. All right, so once you've logged in, we talked about how this Sportys group of applications or group of modules all fits within one application. So you can see here there's the Learn to Fly course, which is the private pilot course that we're talking about today. There's the instrument rating course, there's flying with ForeFlight, there's flight reviews, there's a Garmin G1000 checkout. That's a big one for guys that fly glass panels. It was a big one for me. Like I said, I did steam gauges, but I've also done glass, so I did this checkout to kind of get the look and feel of the G1000. There's VFR communications, there's IFR communications, just good refreshers, best practices for when you're on the radio. People that want to fly helicopters, people that want to fly multi-engine, gliders, seaplanes. You can see here there's a bunch of stuff that you can do within this application. That said, because we're talking about the private pilot course, let's jump into the Learn to Fly course. Simply tap on that, it takes you in, and you get to the private pilot course. Here you can see that this course is broken up into 6 different modules, each of which have a ton of different videos within them. You can see the first one, your first few hours, has 26 video modules within that chapter, 13 within practice landings, 19 within dual cross countries, 15 within private pilot test, right? So when you want to get into these, and the nice thing is you don't have to go in order. Obviously the syllabus is built to go in order as each module does build on the other. However, it's nice to be able to kind of mix it up and match and go through and do things in an order, or maybe mix it up when you're going back for review. The other thing you'll notice at the top here is you have video training, you have test prep, you have maneuvers, which is always a big one. You have different resources you can use, be it the study guide, the ACS, right? All the different resource guides and other things that Sportys offers where you can talk to a CFI or you can find a flight school in your area if you don't already have one, you're starting this up front. Let's take a look at test prep. One of the things here that I really like, they have learning mode, they have flashcard mode, they have test mode. So one of the things we talked about is you have to pass that knowledge exam, right? And you have to pass that to get your private pilot license. Well, one of the big questions that people have, one of the questions that I have is, okay, if I do an online ground course, right, how does somebody know I got those 20 hours? How does someone know that I am competent enough and ready enough to take that written exam? Because yes, you do pay for that written exam. That said, it does fall back on your instructors. So if you have an instructor-led course and you go in and you fail that test over and over and over again, that looks bad for him. It looks bad for the flight school. They don't want to see that, right? They want to be able to see that the people that they're putting through the course are able to pass. So one of the things that they have built in here is they actually have a way to do your certificate, your endorsement that you need to take that exam. So at the top here, you see test score 1 and test score 2, like we were just talking about. You see your overall video progress. So I've done 96% of this course. As you can see down at the bottom there around module 6, I have 4 videos left under your private pilot test. But also you notice that you see the certificates. And if you click certificates, you can actually go through and you can request an exam endorsement, right? That is where they're going to take a look at your test scores and they are actually going to give you a legal endorsement for your logbook that you are able to take to the FAA for your written exam, okay? So again, very important. That's a fantastic function of an online ground school. You don't have to wait around for an instructor. You don't have to say, well, who do I just have to send my test to? How do I get this done? It's all built into the application. I really like this application. I'm very curious what you guys use. What ground schools have you used? What ground schools do you like? Are you using Sportys? Are there people out there using M0A? What else are you using? Please leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think. If you're looking at ground schools or if you're looking at different things, tell me what you thought about this video. If you liked it, absolutely hit that thumbs up button for me. Also, please, if you have not already, I got a lot of great content coming. I have some new things coming up this week. I know a lot of you are wondering, when am I actually going to be in the cockpit? That is coming. I'm trying to finalize some things with an instructor. Outside of that, I'm really trying to study, right? I don't want to get back in the cockpit rusty and not have a clue what's going on. So I am really digging into this application. I am especially going through the maneuvers. I'm online looking at 172s. I'm online looking at, different maneuvering speeds. Like I said, watching Jason Shepard, watching other YouTube videos that have been a real inspiration for me, and that I hope that I can build that same type of content just from a different viewpoint, right? Jason being an instructor, that's a fantastic viewpoint, but sometimes it's also nice to see it from the perspective of a student, and from the perspective of a private pilot, and from a perspective of someone every day that isn't a professional, that doesn't fly every day, right? More than that, that's really trying to get out there and become more proficient, become safer, and use as much of the material that is available to me, and hopefully that's available to you. As always, thank you for watching this video. Until next time, happy procrastinating.